Welcome back, Wildstormers. It's Wildstorm Wednesday, and I am your host, Peter A. DeLuca, your residential Wildstorm expert. We're talking 90s comics, we're talking the great Jim Lee, and maybe the best superhero universe of its time outside of Marvel and DC. Wildstorm really had it clicking. This is the beginning of our look at Wildstorm Rising. We have the top villain from Wildcats, the first villain, and the top villain and the first villain from Stormwatch. These two villains, well, they have an alliance. They're going to put their forces together and do their very best to locate a really old warship, and they need some keys. So this guy Hightower kicks it all off, drawn by Barry Windsor Smith, by the way. Now, there's drama, there's interviews, there's back and forth along the way. Wildstorm Rising is a project to bring to you guys the right way. Today is an introduction. I just want to gloss over the trade paperback because here's the wild thing, guys. The trade paperback has a misprint that literally sent me down a spiral that I had that I couldn't get out of. I'll explain it. And then the single issues with one hell of a promo. I love the promo for these single issues. A lot of you guys may not be aware of that. So, this is going to be, we're not going to title it in the headline or in the thumbnail, but this is part one, your introduction to Wildstorm Productions' first super mega crossover, universe-wide crossover. Every single title is involved. And a new title, Grifter number 1. Do you guys believe this guy over here, Jim Lee, decides to launch Grifter number 1 during the middle of a giant company-wide crossover? Right? So, we're just going to get into the single issues, into the trade paperback, and I'm just going to give you guys some notes and observations along the way, just so we can all begin wrapping our head around Wildstorm Rising. Next week, we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled Wildstorm stuff, content. But then we're going to cycle back to Wildstorm Rising. This is the beginning of a bigger project. For me, there's a lot of things to discuss. And I don't think you guys want like a 3-hour long video on this one crossover. We're going to break it up, make it easy. Guys, let's hit that drawing table. Cheers, AKAPADers. This is exciting. Before we get any further, say hello to Crypt and say hello to Pike. These are the two mascots, not only of the table, but also of the channel and our spiritual advisor, the late, great Stephen Hughes. This is exciting. There's been just a lot of effort, a lot of titles, a lot of big ideas, a lot of execution, a lot of fantastic artwork, new talent, new coloring process, fantastic graphic design, going toe-to-toe with Marvel and DC. Now, the company-wide crossover, in my view, killed... Technically, there's been 3 of them. It killed Wildstorm. It really did. Jim Lee also killed DC Comics with the company-wide crossover. I guess like the short-term gains is just too appealing and you cannot ignore it. I want to get into my kerfluffle. One of the reasons why we're delayed on this, because I was going down, excuse me, I was going down an absolute rabbit hole because this is really well put together. Wildstorm Rising, the trade paperback, is one of the best put together trade paperbacks of a newer company I've ever seen. Might be the best. Just to get into it, we have all of our credits per issue up front and center. I love the inside cover. This is the Demon Knight key. This is a part of unlocking, you know, the secret battle warship that if they resurrect it is going to destroy everything. I love that they put the credits up first. And then we have, and you guys can see I've been through this quite a few times, we have all the characters. All the players. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Then we get the prologue. Right here. Okay? Team 7. Objective Hell. But then, here we go. Now, Team 7 uncovers the Demonite Key. I love this negative panel here. But then we jump into what the rest of the WILDSTORM universe has been up to. See, we have the Jim Lee layout here. This is like the last time Jim Lee like truly touches the monthly Wildcats. I get it. He's back for some of those bigger issues. And then we jump into the prologue. So just to like get into the story, right? Like we have, you know, like we can do our research. We can start memorizing who's who. When I was younger, you would just be fascinated with pages like this. I love character widespreads. So we get to the end, and they do another fantastic thing where they do the biographies of everyone involved. And we have like Jim Lee, so founder of WILDSTORM Productions and one of the founders of Image Comics, co-creator, Wildcats Gen 13, blah, 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 blah. Then we have Brandon Cho. Look, co-creator of Wildcats, Stormwatch. Brandon Cho is second only to Jim Lee as chief architect, right? We've done video on that. Here we go. This, guys, I don't know how I made this mistake. Robert Jones, co-creator Wildcats, architect and creative mastermind behind WILDSTORM. So I read this, and then I go on this deep dive of trying to dig up everything I can about Robert Jones. Robert Jones, how come he's not mentioned in the other books? Where is he? What interviews has he done? I'm AKAPAD. I spent way too much time on this. At the IT job, we say a lot. You know, like don't spend a lot of time on it, right? Because we gotta kind of isolate problems. I spent way too much time on this. Only to have the Robert Jones write-up. It's the same as the Brandon Cho write-up. It's the same thing. And I didn't realize it until way too late. So, I thought I was digging up something that happened. I thought I was digging up something unknown about the WILDSTORM universe and WILDSTORM Productions. And I played myself. With that, AKAPAD, this is one well put together book here. So, we're going to put that down a little bit. Inside of all of these, the direct editions, we have WILDSTORM Gallery trading cards. Look for WILDSTORM Gallery trading cards. Every issue, every one of these issues has a different trading card. And I don't know if you guys can see. It's really hard for me to kind of like, you have to hold the stack up here. You can't hold it here. They'll slip. Because all the trading cards, you know, they make it very difficult to hold. And then we have an ad for Barry Windsor Smith. Barry Windsor Smith comes in and draws chapter 1. And he's a part of some of these covers. So here we go. All systems are go. We are getting into the WILDSTORM universe. Team 7 launches, Team 7 launches. Launching the first company-wide crossover is very fitting. People love that Team 7 had a backstory that basically connected and weaved together the WILDSTORM universe. Very fitting. And then we jump into chapter 1. Look, isn't this awesome? Barry Windsor Smith, Paradox Man ad. Barry Windsor Smith drawing the very book, right? I mean, I love this imagery here. And Barry Windsor Smith just, he draws a fight scene while Hightower hunts down the key and does all his little tricks. And it looks like Barry Windsor Smith. We get some of his colors, some of his neons and the way how he used highlights. I consider this a very well-drawn book. Now, this kind created hell within the walls of WILDSTORM. Because Barry Windsor, notoriously, it's well known, he went off script. But look at this. oh, your guy went off script. Look at this. And here we go. Part 2. Our boy Travis comes in, rocking and rolling, doing all his negative spaces, not doing a lot of backgrounds, not doing any backgrounds at all. I mean, you kind of have to say some of the newer Image guys didn't do backgrounds. This is where J. Scott Campbell, Michael Turner are two of the exceptions to the new blood. But then we have Mr. Majestic, who I never agreed with should be amongst the ranks of the Wildcats at all. He shouldn't even be in the Wildstorm universe because he's Superman, does not belong in Wildcats. He just doesn't. But yeah, we have Union matching up with him and prepare to fight. So we get, this is what upset me right here. Major company crossover. Union is a successful character too at this time. People don't really associate Union anymore with Wildstorm. He's kind of memory hold, but we get this amazing Barry Windsor cover. But the opening shot of one of your most important titles is a house, which is fine. But then we just zoom in on one spot of the house and just, it's just disingenuous. We've got Ryan Benjamin here rocking and rolling. The boys crash through a window. They fight. We get Grifter. This is a little bit what happens previously in Wildcats. The boys fight. I love this animatic. I'm not crazy about animatics. We're going to be doing something coming up on what I feel is the best use of animatics. I call these panels animatics, where it's just animation essentially. But this one works just because I like that the letterbox size panel. It's just like a good use of the panel length and the pose of the character. But then, he sucker punches them, which is great. Get some Stormwatch action here. But yeah, this is a fight, and we're introducing Savant later to become part of Savant Guard. Savant is somewhat of a... the best way to describe the character is she... a little bit like Neo in the Matrix, where they can kind of see things as they're happening. But she's not like Neo in the Matrix. Just her powers work that way. She's almost like an Ozymandias too, where like the things around her, she can start to put it together. She's a great character as an avatar for like a plot device. She really is. Observation. This is one of the big... I had this revelation too while preparing this video. This issue of Wildcats was forever on my drawing table because of shots like this and coloring like this, right? We have Wildstorm at its absolute height. We can tell just by flipping through this. All the attention is on Gen 13. Gen 13 looks so much better than all of the other books. But this chapter for Gen 13, which look, the end, is almost a wash. This issue here, you can almost like remove it from Wildstorm Rising. And then we launched Grifter. Grifter #1 in his first monthly. He had a successful one-shot. And Grifter, who's... let me just make sure we have the... Yeah, Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal is absolutely awesome during his Grifter run. This is a awesome, well-drawn, super cool book. But he's smack in the middle of a crossover. Does this issue does somewhat... like we have Despot here. Or the file. Sorry, it's the file. The issue works, but look at that panel. This issue works on its own a little bit, like enough to kind of pass. So we go from Grifter chapter 6 to Deathblow here, and we're at I kind of hate completely, like, just being negative. This is the beginning of the end of Deathblow. When Tim Sale leaves Deathblow, artwork-wise, it goes south. And we have Trevor Scott, I believe, did this. I want to make sure. Yeah, Trevor Scott with Mel Ruby and Tom Rainey. Trevor Scott, when he takes over the helm of Deathblow, he's between this, like, he's almost like a cross between the way how Jim Lee drew Deathblow and a little bit of how Tim Sale drew Deathblow, which is fair and appropriate, but he just doesn't have, he's just not there yet. He's just not. But he's on the book for, yeah, I'm pretty sure until the end of the series. Deathblow dies in the next company-wide crossover, Fire from Heaven. And we do have a totally fun BWS cover here, inked by Trevor Scott. Then we get, excuse me, then we get Wetworks, Rockin' and Rollin', with Wells Portacio, again too, big proprietor of negative panel space, as we saw with Travis Charest. But, you know, he just does his drawing. Like, you know, like, we're okay with Wells. Just, yeah, I love shots like this too, where, look, they're in a little ship and, you know, they're flying along, but Deathblow and Grifter are there. These are the shots that make you love company-wide crossovers. But, you know, like, let this guy just draw. Like, great looking Maul. Let this guy cook. You know, look at his Hellspawn. You know, Savant Guard is, again, like, they use a lot of this to build up. And Savant is, I believe, Zealot's sister, right? I should double check that one. Fan favorite here, just overall, we love Backlash. And look at this shot, though. Like, guys, this is what we love. And you see how nice the books are communicating, right? We just saw this shot in Wetworks. There is an overlap here. Great Hellspawn here. Defile. But we get some nice illustrations here. Some nice coloring. And we just get through, right? We end with Mr. Majestic and Union teaming up to remove rubble. And that leads all the way into Chapter 9, Stormwatch, which might be stylistically, I know what I said about Deathblow, but stylistically, Rolento Arlem here, who is doing a Roger Cross / Joe Mad style. If you didn't know any better, you might say this was Roger Cross. But anyway, stylistically doesn't quite fit. And later, Stormwatch stylistically removes itself a little bit from the Wildstorm universe with the entry of, and we've been doing him on this channel, Ron Lim. And there's just not a lot of conversation here. The paneling is kind of like, you know, viewer eye level. A lot of it's just like split, rudimentary storytelling. But here we go. We have our ship. It's wrong. It's the wrong ship. Not the Demon Knights Dreadnought. It's a Caribbean ship. Oh, hell. Plot twist there. Let's get to chapter 10, the final. And look at this, my AKA powers. This is why, this is why, how do you not love 90s comics when this is just one of your random covers for a crossover? Look at his Majestic, though. Like, awesome Deathblow, awesome Backlash. Look, the villains. Like, really nice stuff. I look at his cabling, too, for Spartan. Barry Windsor, look up his Machine Man work. This is very, you know, reminiscent of that. And then, what the hell? We have a style here. Look, we have a complete breakdown too on the inside. Marvel later adapted this. Like, Joe Quesada used this idea for his run at Marvel Comics. to bring people up to speed. Kevin McGuire and Brett Booth. Kevin McGuire, who, for whatever reason, people pumped the stock of because he did expressions in Justice League International. I'm not joking. He is brought on as some type of clout. And I don't know why. Because he only draws like a couple, you have to be able to tell a story. I get it. You're known as the face guy. And then, Brett Booth comes in here to wrap it up, to set up the next era of the Wildstorm universe. The ship blows up. Later, some of this is carried over into Alan Moore's Wildcats run, where, in pursuit of the battle, the Wildcats go off planet, which is kind of cool. And then here we go right into Team 1. Team 1 Stormwatch, Team 1 Wildcats. Heavily reviewed and discussed on this channel. Maybe one of the most confusing anythings. Knowing that you had these two books. Look, before Wildcats, before Stormwatch, before Team 7, Team 1. 2 linked miniseries revealing the untold story of Wildstorm's first heroes. And holy crap, it's tough. That's a tough read. So that's your intro. We will get more into the dirt of what happens issue per issue, and then everything that came before and everything that came after. I will do my very best to make it easy to follow for all of you.